Nightmare Comes True by Zhou Dedong. We were all inside a huge soundstage. No one knew who the director was. An unsettling invitation. Pan Shoujin was a girl, though her name sounded like a boy's. Her older brother was named Pan Shouhong. Some people told them to swap names, but neither of them would agree. Pan Shoujun was born in 1979. Like all the girls of that era, she loved performing and studied at Huatsai Film and Television Arts School. One bright sunny day, the classmates were all saying that a female director from the provincial capital had come to cast actors, but she had not interviewed anyone. She only leafed through everyone's materials and left, apparently unsatisfied. Everyone was rather disappointed. This was a small city. It was hard to come by any opportunity at all. Yet a few days later, Pan Shaojun suddenly received a phone call that changed her fate. It was that female director. She said, "I am the director of the TV series Nightmare Comes True. My surname is Huang. The series has 12 episodes and we have already shot 11. To find the female lead for the final episode, I went to several related schools and looked through many students' materials. In the end, I decided to use you. Nightmare Comes True will avoid the traditional way of making television dramas. Its content is assembled from documentary slices of life. If you are willing, come to the provincial capital tomorrow. Filming will take only 3 days. The moment you step into this city, you are stepping into a soundstage. Our cameras may be filming you at any time, from places you cannot see." Pan Shaojun was thrilled. What an enviable chance this was. But then she hesitated. That would mean a hidden camera secretly filming her private life for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, she still decided to give it a try. This was an important chance. Nightmare Comes True might well make her own dream come true. At last, Director Huang told her, "When you arrive in the provincial capital, go straight to Blue Dream Hotel. The production team has already paid the bill." The next day, Pan Shaojun put on her prettiest clothes and set off for the City of Dreams. A familiar face, an unfamiliar bullet. Pan Shaojun came out of the railway station just as a taxi pulled up beside her. She bent down and got in. "Blue Dream Hotel," she said to the driver. To her surprise, the driver had never heard of such a hotel, so Pan Shaojun gave him the address. The taxi wound this way and that before finally reaching a quiet street on the edge of town. But there was no hotel in sight. Pan Shaojun said, "It must be nearby. I'll get out and look for it myself." She paid, got out, and walked forward, glancing around. It was already dusk, and the air had turned a little cold. She wanted to ask for directions, but there was not a single passerby on the road. The place looked desolate. Then she remembered what Director Huang had said, and suddenly realized that maybe the camera was already hiding in the dark. Maybe the taxi driver had been arranged in advance too. An old woman suddenly stepped out from the gap between two buildings and startled Pan Shaojun. She was blind in one eye, and the other eye was staring straight at Pan Shaojun. Pan Shaojun stopped. She could only ask this old woman, "Grandma, how do I get to Blue Dream Hotel?" The old woman asked in a low voice. "What are you doing here?" The old woman pointed behind Pan Shaojun and said, "Go back. Hurry back." "Why?" Pan Shaojun steadied herself and asked. "A young girl just like you also came here and asked me for directions. In the end, she died. Died in a horribly ugly way. Sigh, that was 10 years ago." Pan Shaojun shivered. "If you don't believe me, so be it," the old woman muttered as she hobbled away. "Your fate is fixed by heaven. No one can save you." Pan Shaojun watched her back and could not tell whether she was a supporting character in the play or a madwoman. She kept walking. At last she saw a freestanding little building. Looking at the house number, it was the right place. The building was old, only the sign was new, Blue Dream Hotel. She walked in slowly. There was only one clerk at the front desk. Her attitude was cold. Pan Shaojun could not tell whether she was part of the story or outside it. After checking in, Pan Shaojun went into her room and immediately called Director Wang to tell her she had arrived. Then she wanted to take a shower, but just as she adjusted the water temperature and was about to take off her clothes, she suddenly thought, could there be a camera in this bathroom? She decided not to shower. She lay down on the bed fully dressed and quietly replayed every detail of the day in her mind. Gradually, night fell. She did not turn on the light. Suddenly, the phone rang. She picked up the receiver. There was no sound on the line. Feeling that it was somehow eerie, she hung up. After a while, the phone rang again. The shrill sound cut through the empty building. Pan Shaojun picked up the receiver again. There was still no sound. But this time she felt someone was there on the other end. She could clearly hear a faint breath. "Who's there?" Pan Shaojun's voice changed. The other side still did not speak. Pan Shaojun hung up again. She thought of what the old woman had said, thought of that young girl from 10 years ago, and cold shivers kept running through her. Secretly, she told herself, maybe all of this is part of the script. Don't make a fool of yourself. After thinking it over, she pulled out the phone line and crawled under the covers, waiting for what came next. By then, she guessed that this TV drama might be a horror film. Before long, the phone rang again. Pan Xiaojun almost screamed. Only after she forced herself to calm down did she realize this time it was her cell phone ringing. Xiao Pan, this is Director Huang. Tonight you have to sleep with a face mask on. A waiter will bring it up to you in a moment. We're shooting a scene like that. Before Pan Xiaojun could say anything, the call had already ended. She was still standing there in a daze when someone knocked at the door. It was a middle-aged man. He had brought the face mask along with a set of yellow pajamas. Pan Xiaojun noticed that his expression was somewhat complicated. After he left, Pan Xiaojun locked the door, went into the bathroom, and followed the director's instructions, applying the face mask to her own face. In the mirror, her face was white, with only 2 eyes and a mouth left showing. She startled herself. At that moment, she was certain this TV drama was a horror film. She changed into the yellow pajamas. The moment she had just fallen asleep, the knocking at the door woke her up. Someone outside said, "Night check." She switched on the light and got up to open the door. The door was shoved open by a tremendous force. A person pressed a pistol against her, and before she could scream, several bullets were fired in succession into her heart. In the instant she left this world, Pan Xiaojun saw the person's face clearly. What a familiar face it was. The voice of a maniac. That night, the phone at Pan Yunfei's house rang. He picked up the receiver. There was no sound. After a while, the phone rang again. He answered it, and there was still no sound. Pan Yunfei guessed it was a threatening call. "Please speak," he said calmly. A voice came from the other end, very low, so low that it trembled. "Your daughter will die a violent death tonight, and she will die at your son's hands, right now in a place you do not know about. Your son is moving through the darkness toward his sister. You're a maniac," Pan Yunfei roared. The other person ignored him and went on. "At this very moment I am broadcasting this to you live. His gun is pressed against his sister's heart, his face is twisted with savagery, and his finger is slowly tightening." Pan Yunfei cut him off. "What do you want? This is the punishment you deserve." Pan Yunfei was in despair. They were not extorting him. They were taking revenge. Ah, the gun has gone off. What an awful sound. With that, the other side hung up. Pan Yunfei already had a dreadful premonition. His son had said he was going to the provincial capital to see classmates and had left yesterday. And this morning his daughter had also said she was going to the provincial capital for fun and had left home. He immediately dialed his daughter's mobile number. Pan Yunfei's heart tightened more and more. At last someone answered, and it was still that terrifying voice from before. "She's dead. She won't be answering the phone again. Do you want to talk to me? Where did you take my daughter?" The other side laughed a few times, "Heh heh 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 heh," and hung up. Pan Yunfei felt as if he were sitting on pins and needles. His wife had died young. He never remarried and raised these 2 children alone. They were his life. Losing either one would kill him. When he looked up, he saw the family photograph. His son and daughter were both smiling brilliantly at him. Forensic psychiatric evaluation. The suspect was quickly arrested. It was the dead woman's brother, Pan Xiaohong. Pan Xiaohong had a vacant look and his answers were bizarre. "Why did you kill your sister?" "To shoot a TV drama. I'm the lead." "How did you get the gun?" "The director issued it." "Who is the director?" "The director is the director." "What does she look like?" "Her face was very white." "Where were you before you killed your sister?" "I snatched a pancake from a woman and shoved her down. She said it hurt. I was sorry to her. Then I drove a knife into another woman's heart, and later she came back to life." They were all wearing yellow clothes and red clothes, very pretty. The police suspected that Pan Xiaohong had lost his mind, to determine whether he had been mentally responsible at the time of the crime. The police took him to the Forensic Evaluation Department of the Municipal Psychiatric Hospital for an intelligence assessment. 1. Orientation to time. What day is today? Monday. What month is it now? August. What is today's date? The 13th. No, the 3rd. 30,000. What 30,000? The reward. What year is it? 1979. Really? Yes, she was 2 years younger than me. When we were little, I always fooled her. 2. Orientation to place. Where did you come from? The hotel. Where are you now? The hospital, stopping the bleeding for my sister. 3. Testing memory and logical reasoning. Repeat forward, 659. 659. Repeat backward, 659. 659. I want you to repeat it backward, 659. Now count out loud from 1 to 10. Then repeat 329 forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1979. What is 9 plus 3? 12 episodes. What is 32 plus 23? Blue Dream Hotel. The concept opposite to fast is slow. What is the concept opposite to up? Slow. What is the opposite of soft? White. My sister's face was especially white. She was fooling me. What is 3 minus 2? 1. What is 100 minus 100? It equals nightmare comes true, according to the information collected by the police. Before the case, Pan Shohong had stayed at Blue Dream Hotel. The clerk on duty testified that he seemed quite normal, not like a madman, but after checking in he rarely went out, and no one knew what he was doing in his room. The police asked who he had come into contact with. The clerk said she had never seen anyone associating with him. At around 3 o'clock on the afternoon of the crime, he suddenly came out and hurried away. Fortune falls on the unprepared. Pan Shohong was a taciturn person. He was 23 years old. Since childhood, he liked singing and dreamed of becoming a pop star. Last year, he had self-published his own album at his own expense. His father, who had spent his whole life as a policeman, had always opposed both his son and his daughter entering the entertainment world. In the end, though, he still paid for his son. That morning, Pan Shohong received a call from a stranger. She claimed to be a director from a film and television company in the provincial capital. We are preparing to shoot a 12-episode TV series called Nightmare Comes True, and we want to invite you to play the male lead. If you're willing, come to the provincial capital immediately for an audition. The city where Pan Shohong lived was more than 100 kilometers from the provincial capital. His heart was so excited it almost jumped out of his throat. There were far too many people who wanted to become actors. His younger sister was one of them. From childhood, she had wanted to be a star, and in the end, ignoring her father's objections, she paid to attend a film and television school. Even though she was the best there, she still never got a chance to appear on screen. Why on earth had such a good thing fallen into his lap? He suspected it was a friend's prank to amuse him, so he asked, "How did you know about me?" "A headhunting company." "A talent scout?" "More or less." Pan Shohong still felt the whole thing was a little far-fetched. "But what can you use to make me believe you?" The other side gave a condescending laugh. "To tell you the truth, there are more than a dozen people competing for this male lead right now, and among them are some very famous actors. But we only want someone who has never acted before, and we won't rehearse. We'll shoot it directly for a truly realistic effect. We saw your materials and photo in the headhunting company's files and thought you were suitable. If you don't want it, we'll find someone else. It doesn't matter." Pan Shohong hurriedly asked, "When do I report?" "Let's talk about the pay first." There was money too. Pan Shohong no longer even considered that. As long as he could be the lead, that was enough. Because of the special nature of this series, the production costs are enormous, so the actors' fees are relatively low. Your fee is 30. Money is a minor matter. If you agree, you can take train No. 414 to the provincial capital today. Of course, we have to conduct an audition. If you pass, we'll pay you 1/3 of the deposit first. How do I contact you? After you arrive, we'll pick you up. That very day, Pan Shohong quietly packed his bags and set off in a hurry for the provincial capital by train. He did not dare tell his father the truth. He only said he was going to the provincial capital to see classmates. He planned to tell him after he passed the audition and officially signed the contract with the production crew. Real acting, fake acting. After leaving the railway station, Pan Shohong looked left and right but saw no one there to meet him. Just as he was standing there in a daze, a black sedan stopped in front of him. The window slowly rolled down, revealing a woman's face. She wore sunglasses, and it looked as if she had put on far too much powder. At first glance, he thought she looked vaguely familiar. She said, "Get in." "I'm the one." Pan Shohong hesitated for a moment, then got in. Two rather older men sat in the back seat. They were both wearing sunglasses and said nothing. They did not look friendly at all. The woman said to Pan Shohong while driving, "This film has two storylines. One is you. When you enter our soundstage, you are actually entering a life full of danger. The other female lead is different from you. She knows nothing. We let her live inside a huge soundstage as if in a dream, and she cannot wake herself up. You cannot quit halfway through. Otherwise, not only will you get no money, you will also have to compensate us for all our losses, because we will have to change actors and start all over again." They brought Pan Shohong to Blue Dream Hotel. The two men stood outside the door. The woman went into the room. She sat on the sofa and suddenly asked Pan Shohong, "Do you feel that you've seen me before?" Pan Shohong froze. He really seemed to have seen her somewhere, at a breakfast stall near his home. On the road home late at night? He could not remember, no matter how hard he tried. Yes, I have seen you. I've been following you for many days. Why were you following me? Pan Xiaohong asked, puzzled. Research. She smiled and said, get some good rest. After a while we'll audition you. If there's no problem, we'll sign the contract and start shooting. But remember, do not walk out of this room casually. You can call room service to bring you food. After she left, Pan Xiaohong began to doubt whether any of this was real. He stayed in the hotel until the next afternoon and never went out. At last, the woman called and told Pan Xiaohong to hurry to a test shoot location. Pan Xiaohong took a taxi to that quiet street and saw her. She was still wearing sunglasses, and Pan Xiaohong had never once seen her full face. Those two older men were still beside her, both in sunglasses, still unidentified. They did not speak, and their expressions were just as unfriendly. The woman said, your role in this drama is a young man forced down the road to crime. Today we'll try a few scenes first and see how you feel. The two unidentified men sprang into action. They took the camera out of a work van and began connecting the cables. The woman pointed at a pancake seller by the roadside and said, this is the first test location. The one in yellow is our actress. You walk over, take a pancake, and leave. She'll chase you for the money. You shove her hard to the ground and run like hell. Pan Xiaohong played the role of a thug once. Following the director's instructions, he did not feel nervous at all, even though he knew the camera was filming him. The director seemed quite satisfied with his performance. Only the actress looked a little wronged, because Pan Xiaohong had knocked her down too hard. The woman in sunglasses then said, later, another woman in yellow will appear by the wall of the prosthetics factory across the road. She'll be carrying a black suitcase and acting suspiciously. She is our actress, playing a female thief. You rob the robber. Run over and stab her in the abdomen with a knife. She will cry out and collapse. You will be frightened, your hands shaking the whole time. It will take you several tries before you finally pick up her black suitcase, and then you stagger away. Did I make that clear? Clear. Even though the director told him the knife was retractable, when Pan Xiaohong drove the knife into the other woman's abdomen, his heart still tightened. This time, the woman seemed dissatisfied. She thought Pan Xiaohong's expression was too fake, too much like the villains in traditional TV and film. We chose someone who had never acted before, precisely because we wanted to break free of old molds and pursue realism, she said loudly. From her expression, it seemed she had already lost confidence in Pan Xiaohong. Pan Xiaohong was ashamed and anxious. I can do it well. Let's try once more, he said. She looked helplessly at the two cameramen, then said, fine, let's try once more. The two men both looked up at the sky. Night had almost fallen. The woman said again, let's eat first and rest a bit. Then she picked up the phone and informed someone, second test location, have the staff get ready. Shoot the gun killing scene at 11 o'clock. Last try. If it doesn't work, we won't shoot anymore. Get the actress in place. After hanging up, she said to Pan Xiaohong, build up your emotions first. This time our test location is in the hotel. You knock on the door and say you're security, doing the night check. After the actress with the face mask opens the door for you, quickly shoot her in the heart with the prop gun, then turn and run. Keep running until we call cut. This time, to eliminate your camera nerves, we've hidden the camera lens. Don't keep thinking a camera is filming you, and don't keep thinking you're acting. Just treat it as if you are really killing someone. Only then will your face show fear and tension, and only then will it be realistic. As Pan Xiaohong approached that room, his legs suddenly began to tremble, as if something terrible was about to happen. When he fired at the actress in the yellow clothes and white face mask, he clearly felt bullets strike her chest and blood surge out. He was stunned. Her eyes and her scream were so familiar. He did not run. He crouched down and shook the woman's shoulder. She was convulsing. Mechanically, he peeled the face mask from her face and stared, dumbfounded. By then, he had already realized that he had walked into a vast conspiracy. He knelt beside his sister's body and broke into a foolish stream of he laughter. No ending. This was a true case. Based on that case, I wrote a horror story and published it in S.H.I.E.L.D. magazine. It was not until then that the mysterious person who had been taking revenge on Pan Yunfei had still not been caught. One late night, I received a phone call from a woman. My surname is Huang. I am a director. Hello, I said. Recently I read one of your horror stories and found it very interesting. Which one? Nightmare Comes True. At that moment, I suddenly remembered that the female director in the story was also surnamed Huang. For a moment, I could not tell whether this was a coincidence or whether horror had spread from the work into reality. What do you want? I want to turn it into a 12-episode TV series, also called Nightmare Comes True. Can we talk? Suppressing the unease in my heart, I said, do you want to buy my original work? Or do you want to hire me as the screenwriter? I want to invite you to be the lead actor. You're not joking, are you? The script is already finished. The general plot is like this. There is a writer who takes a real case and turns it into a horror story. After publication, he receives a call from a film company, and they say they want to make the story into a TV series. The female director making the call is astonishingly just like the female director in the story, and her surname is also Huang. The writer feels something about this is suspicious. Then, Director Huang invites him to meet in person to discuss the collaboration. After thinking it over again and again, he decides to go alone. Director Huang tells him that after he arrives in the provincial capital, he should stay in the Blue Dream Hotel from the case. All at once, I seemed to see two figures from behind. One was the mad Pan Xiaohong, and the other was the dead Pan Xiaojun. She went on from reality to fiction, and from fiction back to reality. This TV series is full of suspense from the very beginning. You will play that writer, or rather you will play yourself. Are you willing? I am willing, I said heavily. Then come. Once you arrive, stay in Blue Dream Hotel. The end.